The candles had long since burned out. Evelyn Carter sat alone at the table, the ivory tablecloth still neatly folded at the corners, untouched silverware shining under the soft kitchen lights. The short ribs, hand-selected from a specialty butcher an hour away, had gone cold. The custom vanilla cake sat in the fridge, unread. The clock read 10:35 p.m. when her phone lit up with an email. Subject, client emergency body. Won't make it home tonight. Big deal closing. We'll make it up. No happy anniversary, no happy birthday. Just 4 lines that sliced through 8 years of marriage like a blade with no intention of healing. Evelyn set the phone down. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat there, napkins still folded in her lap, as if a different ending might still arrive if she waited a little longer. It didn't. She spent the next hour packing everything away. The uneaten dinner, the carefully strung lights on the balcony, the wine she never uncorked. At midnight, she lay down in her dress, still zipped, the scent of effort lingering on her skin like regret. The next morning, Evelyn arrived at work early, more out of habit than clarity. She moved numbers across spreadsheets, double-checked figures, and answered 3 client emails before her curiosity cracked through the numbness. She called Miles's office. "Hi, this is Evelyn Carter. Can I speak with Miles Carter, please?" There was a pause. Too long. Then a gentle voice replied, I'm sorry, Mrs. Carter. Miles resigned 3 days ago. He didn't leave any forwarding information." Evelyn's hand froze over the mouse. Her screen blurred. 3 days ago?" she repeated softly. "Yes, ma'am." Another pause. "I thought you already knew." She hung up without another word. By 6 p.m., Evelyn was speeding home, every red light a punch to the gut. When she opened the apartment door, silence hit first, then the absence. The brown leather shoes Miles wore religiously, gone. His cologne? Faint, barely clinging to the air. She rushed to the bedroom. He was there, standing calmly by a suitcase. "You're home early," he said, as if they'd just run into each other at a grocery store. She looked at him like he was a stranger. "You quit your job? And didn't tell me?" Miles zipped up the suitcase. "I accepted a new position in Albuquerque. Starts next week." Without discussing it, "I made my choice. You should make yours." Then he pulled out a folder and laid it on the dresser. Divorce papers. "I can't be with someone who's always distracted with work. The house is dusty, you barely cook, and when you do, it's rushed. You're not the woman I married." Evelyn's voice trembled, but her words were steady. "I work full-time. I pay half the rent. I planned our anniversary dinner. You didn't show up. I'm not having this conversation." He brushed past her toward the door. "And what? You just leave me here with bills and a lease you abandoned?" Miles turned slightly. "Actually, I requested a lease termination. You'll have to vacate by the end of the month." Evelyn laughed, sharp, dry. "Did you even think to ask where I'd go? You're an adult. Figure it out." He walked out, shutting the door behind him with the finality of a judge's gavel. Later that night, Evelyn sat at their old shared desk, rummaging through drawers. What she found stunned her. Receipts for nearly every piece of furniture, all under her name. And on her work laptop, an alert. A data access log, time-stamped the day Miles had asked her for help, installing a security update. He hadn't just abandoned her. He'd stolen something on his way out. If you've ever been ignored after giving everything you had, type 1. Evelyn Carter nearly dropped her coffee when the company-wide alert popped up on her screen. SEC investigation notice. Internal data breach linked to recent employee departure. All staff may be subject to audit. Please verify system access logs. Her breath caught in her throat. She clicked the link and scanned the audit report. There it was. Her name, her user ID. Download logs traced to files she hadn't touched in weeks. Except one thing stood out. The timestamp matched the night Miles borrowed her laptop, just for a software update. Heart racing, she shut the screen. If the company suspected her of leaking proprietary financial data, her entire career could be in jeopardy. And the worst part? It all still smelled like his cologne. That evening, Evelyn sat in her dimly lit apartment, now stripped of most of Miles's belongings, rereading the wedding announcement he'd smugly emailed her. Groom, Miles Andrew Carter. Bride, Marissa Whitmore. Location, Santa Fe, NM. Date, 1 day after divorce finalized. But something about the bride's name tugged at Evelyn's memory. Whitmore wasn't always her last name. She opened Facebook and typed Marissa Ellis. There she was. Or rather, who she used to be. Acne, braces, crooked teeth, no makeup. A girl who used to sit alone in the back of their high school class. The girl who once dropped her lunch tray in front of the whole cafeteria and ran out crying. Now she was unrecognizable. Sculpted cheekbones, soft blonde waves, piercing blue eyes, and a verified Instagram profile filled with curated perfection. Evelyn called her high school best friend, Lauren. "Do you remember Marissa Ellis?" Lauren laughed immediately. "Oh, you mean the new Mrs. Carter?" "Yeah. After New York, she went full transformation. Nose job, jawline surgery, veneers, even got her chin recontoured. Everyone calls her Whitmore now." "Her family owns the real estate company, right?" Evelyn stayed silent, absorbing the information. "You know," Lauren added, "there were rumors she once dated a married architect in Brooklyn. Very strategic, that one." The dots connected like a constellation of betrayal. Miles didn't fall in love. He invested. And Marissa wasn't a bride. She was a merger. Later that week, Evelyn's phone rang. Miles. Again. She hesitated, then picked up. "Marissa gave birth last night," he said, voice strained. "It's a girl." There was a pause. Then quietly. "She doesn't look like either of us." Evelyn blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I thought she'd have my eyes or Marissa's coloring, but she doesn't. Nothing matches." She let out a quiet exhale. "Genetics can't be photoshopped, Miles." He sounded defensive. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You erased your past. So did she. But your daughter? She's a mirror you can't edit." He stayed quiet. "I found your old high school yearbook while packing. You looked like a different person. Acne, thick curls, glasses. No wonder you never showed our wedding guests any childhood photos." He laughed bitterly. "I changed because I had to." "No," Evelyn said softly. "You changed because you were ashamed." Long silence. Then she added, "I feel sorry for the child. She'll grow up carrying the truth you two tried to delete." Miles's voice cracked. "You think she'll look like that version of me?" "She already does." Click. She hung up. If you've ever watched someone build a perfect life on a lie, only to have the truth crawl back through blood and bone, type 2. Evelyn opened her inbox on a rainy Monday morning and saw the subject line she never expected. Urgent, internal ethics violation report. Confidential. She clicked. The email detailed the preliminary findings from an SEC inquiry. Several downloads of restricted financial summaries had been traced to her department, using her credentials. But the timestamp aligned exactly with the night Miles had borrowed her laptop. The company hadn't accused her yet, but it was enough to freeze her breath mid-chest. That same day, she received a text from an unknown number. "Evelyn, this isn't about Miles. It's about the baby. I need to talk. Marissa." She debated ignoring it, but some strange intuition nudged her otherwise. They met at a quiet cafe in downtown Boulder. Marissa sat at the corner booth, barely recognizable without her signature glam. No filters, no lashes, just dark circles, chipped nails, and the tired hunch of someone unraveling. "She won't look at me," Marissa whispered. "My daughter. Every time I hold her, it feels off." Evelyn stared, unmoved. "She doesn't look like me," Marissa added. "Not like the woman I am now, not the one in our wedding photos. It's like she came from someone else, someone I buried a long time ago." "That someone," Evelyn said, voice even, "is you." Marissa blinked, as if slapped by a truth she'd avoided naming. "You built a life around an image, but children don't come from Photoshop. They come from blood." Tears welled in Marissa's eyes. "Sometimes I think I made a mistake. I thought if I married someone with the right face, the right title, the baby would complete the picture. Evelyn set down her coffee slowly. But it turns out the only unfiltered thing in your life is the child you're too ashamed to love. Marissa didn't respond. That week, Evelyn sent a confidential memo to the company's compliance department, attaching the data logs, the timestamps, and, anonymously, a copy of Miles's resignation letter. It didn't take long. A month later, Miles was quietly removed as executive vice president. Internal sources said it was due to conflict of interest and misuse of privileged data. No public statement was made. But everyone in the industry knew. He tried calling Evelyn again. She never picked up. Instead, she poured her energy into the life she rebuilt. A small apartment with a view of the Flatirons, morning walks with coffee in hand, an art class every Saturday, and a quiet companionship with Nathan, the high school friend who never expected anything more than truth and peace. Nearly a year later, while browsing a used bookstore, she ran into Lauren. "You haven't heard?" Lauren asked, lowering her voice. "Marissa's looking for a divorce attorney. Word is, Miles cheated, again, with a junior associate at her father's firm." Evelyn wasn't surprised, but what pierced her heart came next. Their daughter, she's almost 3 now. Apparently, other kids found old photos of Marissa online, called her ugly. The poor girl cried for days. Evelyn stood still, the weight of it all anchoring her. In the end, the lies they tried to bury resurfaced in the most innocent form. Their child. A mirror they couldn't edit. A truth they couldn't outsource. She walked home in the golden light of autumn, croissant in hand, peace in her breath. No need for revenge, no need for validation. Just air, just now. If you've ever watched the truth rise through the cracks of someone's perfect life, type 3.